Hi there, this is Michelle from Therapy Works Together, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about increasing your child's attention span in general. So there's another video where I talk about something called joint attention, and that's a shared attention on an object between, let's say, the child, me, the child, and my parent, right? We're both looking at the object, we're looking at each other, we're establishing a sort of communication link about that object through looking at each other. But now I want to talk about, and that's something very important. Sorry, I'll back it up a second. That's something that's very important, and that is an early developing communication skill. It develops around 8 months, but sometimes kids need a little bit of a super boost with that skill to kind of rein them back in and engage them in this shared attention activity so that we can create, the goal of that is to create a shared opportunity for learning, right? When we are jointly attending to something, we are actually creating an opportunity for language learning and for learning in general. Okay, but how do we get a child to pay attention to us in the first place? Now, in my joint attention video, I use this ball, and it's just an example, but you know, kids have this ball plus balls that are way more interesting than this one. So what do? We need to find some sort of object, not only object, but some sort of way to really grab their attention. So I have here something, this is my little fun, fire box with all sorts of fun things that can be inside. Usually the things are much simpler than you would imagine, right? Parents, they're much simpler than you would imagine, but they're things that kids aren't necessarily playing with every day or playing with in the usual way. So you can use a box that's kind of decorated in a fun way. You can use a bucket, right? A small bucket that is not see-through, that has a cover on it, that only comes out when you want it to, right? And there's only fun things inside, and you control it, right? You can open it, and it's got really exciting things inside. So for this video, I put together something that's so simple, it's kind of ridiculous. I would recommend using it during bath time, and I'll show you why. But it's very novel, and I think your child will actually like playing with it. So you can kind of take this out and be very animated about showing it, right? And very animated about opening it, right? And what can be inside. And get really excited. Whisper. Use language that's very simple. Generate some sort of excitement around what's in here. And then every time you present this box, who knows what's going to be inside? Every time you present this box, there's going to be an automatic excitement generated about it, and hopefully some sort of communication attempt from your child to get you to open the box and see what's inside, right? So I'm gonna open the box. What's inside? Look at that. So today, you might think this is a little bit strange, but I've put together a little bit of red juice in a glass jar, okay, and I have a syringe. These are very easy to get, excuse me, but they're not really toys that a child might play with. Now, I would obviously, especially with a syringe, even though there's no needle on it, still got a sharp point. I would use this while supervising your child, and I would not use it near your white couch, obviously. But something that I would do is, a child would see this and be like, ooh, what am I supposed to do with this? So I'm not going to do this now because I am sitting right next to my white carpet. But what you can do is take this to the bath, open up the jar, and first you can say to the child, my turn, right? Take out some of the red juice, squirt it in the bath, swish it around, squirt it on the walls, right? Move it around with your fingers. You can play all sorts of things with this. You can let them squirt it all over the place if that's what you wish to do. You can use regular water and just the syringe. If you want to not control the actual juice or the liquid that's in here, and you want to give it to your child, I would recommend not using a glass container in the bath, but using a plastic container, but make it something that they haven't seen before. Don't use the usual, bottles or things that you have. Even save a leftover soda bottle, whatever it is, something small that they haven't seen before. You can also use regular water and glitter, right? Or regular water and sprinkles, something that will dissolve into the bath water, and it doesn't matter if it goes down the drain, but something that they haven't seen before that they're really going to want to get their hands on. That's the point. And then start to get very excited and very animated about it, right? Now, even something that's as interesting as this is going to eventually get boring. There's only so much you can do with it, and that's fine, right? We don't expect that, even around age 3, kids are still lengthening and lengthening their attention span, and we don't expect them to, sit there for half an hour or the full bath time, for example, and just play with this one syringe and the red water. That's fine. So I would dedicate no more than 5 minutes to an activity, maybe a couple of times a day, or even maybe just once a day, right? Bath time is great because you've sort of held them captive, right? They can't run away. They understand, they know because of this routine activity that this is a place that they're going to be staying, right? They're not going to be running off. They might not love the activity that you've chosen for them, but they're not going to run off, right? 5 minutes in an environment where they're relaxed, right? They're expecting to stay there for a certain amount of time. Hopefully, on your part, there's no devices, right? A child will know if you are paying attention to something else. There's no TVs on or anything like that. And again, if it's just for 5 minutes, take your device, put it away, turn off all the ringers if you can, right? And give them that full attention. And another thing I'd recommend is finish before they've had enough. Right? So if you see that they're engaged in this for a really long time and it's just going and going and going, resist the temptation to say, oh, I'm just going to push it for a few extra minutes. It's okay if you start to see them, your child, if you start to see them, look at other things or play with it in a way that's really sort of getting ridiculous, you can take it, put it back in your, in your magic box, right? And put it away for another time and maybe only reintroduce it a couple of nights later at bath time, right? And the good thing about bath time, if you don't do this at bath time, if you do this at another time, is get on their level, right? You're sitting down, you're not away, you're not up, you're not, paying attention to something that's going on in the background. You're at that level. There's the expectation that you're there and you're engaged with them. If it's a child, well, it's a child that's young, you're not necessarily leaving them in the bathroom or in the bathtub by themselves, right? So they know you're going to be there. You both are in this routine activity where you have the opportunity to pay attention to each other. Nothing else is going on. No one else is coming in. This is your 5 minutes of quality time that you're focused and attending on the same thing together. And, keep this box. This is a great way to introduce fun things. Eventually, what we're going to do is we're going to have, a fun, novel activity in here. And then we're going to introduce, something that's maybe a little bit less exciting that we want to do alongside this, right? That's not in the bath. That's maybe more educational, right? We're going to, work on a puzzle or work on some sort of turn-taking activity. And through these shared tasks, this creates an opportunity for language and learning, right? Because if we're both attending to the same thing, in this case, some, fruit juice and, a little squirty syringe over here, if we're both attending to the same thing, this creates an opportunity where we can sit down, learning and language happen at this time, right? We're both engaged in this communication task together, activity together. There's an opportunity for a back and forth exchange, and your child is actually enjoying it, because who wouldn't enjoy this? Okay, thank you for listening. Bye.